Hey, I'm Tim Kilroy. I'm just an awful, terrible employee, which is why my wife says that entrepreneur is actually French for can't hold a freaking job. And that there's another definition I have for entrepreneur, which is the definition of entrepreneur is being too dumb to know when to quit because you get so many benefits from just being able to tolerate more stuff than other people. And so today, I want to talk about something that may be a little bit different than you've heard across the cast because I'm not going to talk about a process that you create using AI or anything that makes you more efficient. I want you to think about this as a reminder to just be more human. Now, just as by way of introduction, I work primarily with agency owners and some SaaS businesses and a couple of other folks. And I really help folks on the front end of their business, defining their positioning, their go-to-market strategies, their sales processes, how to make their clients feel really valued during the first 30 days or 60 days of engagement. And I'm really excited to give this fantastic, in my own humble opinion, because I'm gonna shine myself on just like ChatGPT does, that this is arguably the most insightful, inspiring, and monumental 12 minutes that you're gonna have in the next 12 minutes. All right. I think this is you, right? You guys can see this? Yay?
Yep. Yes.
All right. So AI can't close deals, but fucking goodness, that's so good for all of us because the minute they can close deals, you know what? That's probably not likely to happen anytime really soon. Now, I do think, just so we know, I do think that agents will be buying stuff, but no complex services that need to be sold. So I think that agents will buy access to things and they will buy products, but not complex services. So, all right. So I want to tell you a story. This is from my last agency. We were a teeny tiny team and we had one really freaking big customer. And we got an introduction to this really, truly amazing business. They were venture funded. They had huge ambitions. And I went in and gave the best pitch of my entire life. It was still to this day, I have never given a pitch and been in the moment, been in the pocket more than I was that day. That was in San Francisco. I live in Boston. I was on the red eye home and I was like, the whole time I was like, oh, this is a transformative opportunity for us. And also very funny, weird happenstance. One of the people on that team was college roommates with my high school prom date. Weird. Didn't know that going in, but it's true. And so I came out of that meeting. We hit every note and it's going to be extraordinary. And I knew that our price to benefit ratio was better than anyone else's on the planet. And we had all the technology we needed. And then I got home the next morning and I got a call from the woman I just pitched the day before. And she told us, you were the best. You had the best solution. You understood our business better. It was so on point. But the board decided that because of your size, even though we had a bazillion pounds of technology behind us, at that point, we called it machine learning. They decided that it was too risky to go with us. And it took me a long time to come to terms with that. I always thought that business in many respects, when you got to the pitching stage, was a meritocracy or a best value discussion. This has introduced something that I just had never really thought about before. There's risk when you jump in with a partner. And that devastation still, this is now, it's over a decade later and it still hurts. And I'm still in touch with that CMO, and she's lovely and awesome. And every time I talk to her, I'm like, what the hell? Come on. This would have been so great. But anyways, so as I've been working with all of my clients, and they are so excited about AI on the biz dev front, they're less excited about it in the way that it impacts their agency delivery. But on the biz dev front, they are super, super excited because suddenly they can spam everybody at once, bazillions of emails painlessly. And when they go through this process of leveraging all of the tools that they have at their disposal, they are able to create pretty compelling opportunity for themselves. But their win rate is lower. And that's because everybody has access to the same data, the same synthesis, and the same industry research because it all lives inside of Claude or ChatGPT. It's all there. And so what used to be an extraordinary advantage of scale, which you had more resources to do stuff, that has evaporated. So once we take that benefit, that advantage out of the way, there's still things that, well, AI can help you find potential fits and create a really good story. It does not have the foresight, the intelligence, or the life experience to be able to hear those things that aren't ever really said. Is the company, has it just done a funding round, or is it trying to do a funding round that no one's talking about? Is the CMO on thin ice? What's their experience both in this company and in previous companies about experiences with service providers? There's stuff that nobody ever says out loud, and AI still can't see that. Now, I made the mistake when I pitched this deal by focusing on the most obvious stuff: scale and performance. Cool. What I didn't think about, and I never even considered this, they were going to spend $1.5 million a month in paid media. We were handling about, our biggest client was like $150,000 a month in paid media. And so we were saying that we could do something 10 times bigger. And now I'm like, what were you thinking, Tim? That was such a critical, tactical, strategic mistake not to address that better and make that the entire point of the meeting. Our technology works and here's why it scales. So I didn't even think about this risk, and AI will lead you down that same primrose path and give you all of the empiric reasons why you were a good fit. But it won't give you the real reasons why you're not going to be a good fit. So the way that I have actually worked with my clients is to get them to figure out their last 3 deals that they lost. Did the client not understand what the agency did? Or did you not understand the concerns? And we have gotten to the point with my clients that I, on their behalf, proactively reach out to their lost clients and ask why they didn't get the deal. And the reasons are rarely the fact that you did not articulate yourself well or make a compelling value proposition, but you didn't understand the risk and concerns that they had. So you might have been doubling down on your strengths, but there was some concern that they did not voice that you didn't know to address. And this functionally it's a real issue when it comes to relying on AI as a go-to-market driver. So AI just gathers data. It just smushes together data, and it uses M dashes way too freaking often, but it's accessible to everyone. What is not accessible to AI is the kind of questions and empathy and, frankly, nosiness that you can have when you are investing yourself in a sales process to create trust and shared vulnerability. Because if a prospect does not trust you, they're not going to share things that they're really afraid of. And so AI will give you the stamp of correctness, but it cannot create trust for you. And I see this especially with folks who are earlier in their career using AI. They're treating AI as a script or as a how-to. And when it comes right down to it, a business transaction, especially involving services and that sort of thing, it really comes down to not, are you good enough to do the job that we need you to do? Because most people are. It's largely about, do we trust you enough to do the job that we need you to do? Do we think you have the right experience, the right understanding, the right sort of agency and curiosity, and the right gumption to tell us that to push back against us? And those are all of the things that we are losing when we overly rely on AI. And so I want to introduce this totally made up metric that I actually invented in 2018, ROU, return on understanding. There is no way to measure it. It is not empiric. But when we think about it this way, AI makes scale free, its research is free, outreach is free, decks are free. There's the ability to make yourself look as good as your biggest competitor. That's easy. You can do that. It might take you a few minutes, but you can do it. So the only thing that is left to compete on is how deeply you understand the needs, motivations, concerns, and ambitions of the other humans across the table. There's no doubt. And so some of these are some of the things that I pulled up from my agencies, like second order fears. So they found the agency presents a great solution that's going to increase your sales. Woo-hoo! The second order fear is, do we have the resources to fulfill all of those sales, or does this create some other kind of problem that we need to know we can solve before we can move ahead? Or is there a political cost? Am I, as a VP of marketing, going to go to bat to pick the vendor that I like? Because if they screw it up, I look really bad. Or the thing that they won't say when you are off target, or if they're embarrassed about something, that something under their control hasn't been working, AI is not going to be able to tease that out of them. But you can. And so we need to think about AI as a tool that we use, not as a driver of our actions. So one thing you can do before your next pitch is really put yourself on the other side of the call. What are the 3 or 4, or might be 2 or 100 things that it is unlikely that the person you're speaking to is actually going to say? Who looks bad? What's the cost of failure? Is there a bigger strategic element happening that you're not aware of? And what are you competing against? It may not actually be a competitor. It could be things are okay. They could be better, but they're okay. And we're comfortable with okay, because it sounds like you're going to ask us to change in order to be better. No, people often want the transformation without the change. And so before your next discovery call or sales pitch, really try to put yourself in the shoes of that person using everything that you've learned from your AI but then layering on top of it your human sense of empathy, vulnerability, and compassion, because that will lead you to ask better questions, have better responses to answers, and engender the thing that is the only difference maker, which is trust. So AI made scale easy, data's a commodity, but being connected and human is your unbeatable edge. My name's Tim. You can find me at timkilroy.com. And if you're interested, I also have a great agency focused newsletter at agencyinnercircle.com. There you go.
Awesome, Tim. Thanks a lot, man. You kind of went right into the driver, which we usually come around to eventually, is the human factor, right? Human communication and that linkage that AI can't give us.
Yeah. And I must say that we see it more and more that content and even correspondence is being AI generated.
Yep.
And you can't really put your finger on the uncanny valley aspect of it, but you can always taste it somehow. You get an email and you know that Gemini wrote it. And I think that this is putting businesses and certainly people who are in charge of creating relationships between businesses, over reliance on the ease of AI significantly diminishes your opportunity to win in circumstances where all things are equal.